And we don't think that the NBA, today's NBA player, they do play at a fast rate, but I don't think they're in the tip-top shape.
You know, we played and practiced so hard. I couldn't wait for games because games was easy.
Yeah, it was easy.
Compared to our practices, games were easy. So I used to love the fact that we had 4 games in 5 nights.
Yeah.
We didn't see the best of Michael Jordan. He was as good as he was in the game. He was that much better in practice.
So what's the difference from, like, think about it, early 2010 and 11 till now?
It is the practice. And I'm the one for, like, I be pushing the coach like, yo, we need to practice more.
You lying? Yeah.
We practiced every day. We went up and down every day.
Like a game.
Like a game. So we 5-on-5 pretty much the whole season.
With drills.
With drills. And so now they come in and they doing a lot of individual work.
With a trainer.
You know, so a lot of our shit was game speed.
When it comes to virtually every NBA summer, there's 2 annual traditions that I absolutely despise. The first one is some player who has no offensive game whatsoever, shooting wide open jump shots and looking pretty decent as a shooter. Guys who do this routinely are Ben Simmons and Rudy Gobert, guys who in-game are no threat outside of 2 feet.
Working well together, that was nice. Now, Gobert jumper's an air ball. 2 to shoot, Simmons, reluctant shooter, and there's what?
Horrible. Horrible. Just horrible.
Now, the second trend summer tradition is that one player who's out of shape, they're fat, not taking the game seriously, but summertime, you know, they're jacked, in shape, they're in the weight room, they finally put it together. For the vast majority of the decade, the guy who was the king of this was Zion Williamson, as Zion every summer like clockwork will get in phenomenal shape and look absolutely jacked. But of course, when the season comes, Zion Williamson, you know, he'll play 25, 40 games, get out of shape, and the cycle repeats over and over again.
It never ends.
Now, the guy Zion passed the torch to this summer was indeed Luka Doncic. And looking at Luka in Dallas and Los Angeles, this guy always been a little hefty, a little chunky, a bigger NBA player who's not in phenomenal tip-top shape. So I guess in one respect, Luka Doncic, tip your hat to him, he's finally getting in shape, taking the game seriously. On the other hand, isn't it kind of embarrassing? Luka's what, 26 years old, near 8, and just now he's taking things that seriously? That to me for an NBA superstar is kind of pathetic. And looking past Luka's weight loss, one thing I do want to address very quickly is the bigger, faster, stronger myth that permeates all NBA debates. As looking at past eras, they'll look at someone like Bird, Magic, heck, even Reggie Miller, say they weren't some super athlete and they couldn't survive in the modern game. And that right there, one of the biggest misnomers in NBA history. As again, looking at someone like Luka, his NBA career debunks that theory pretty thoroughly. As Luka 2 years ago was a walking 34-9-9 and top 3 in MVP. And of course that season, 13 games of 40 plus points, 2 games cracking 50, and 1 game reaching 73. If Luka is so fat, so out of shape, just so disgusting, how is he doing that in the modern NBA with the best athletes, best trainers, the biggest, fastest, and strongest players to ever live? If that's true, Luka Doncic should not be doing that in the modern NBA.
He's got a point.
At some point, you can't have it both ways. You can't say this era is the best defense ever played, the most physical defense, with the best athletes, then have someone like Luka Doncic tearing it up on a nightly basis. If every NBA player nowadays had a 40-inch vertical, they could run a 4.3 40, they were all athletic freaks, I give it up to you, today's athletes are something better across the board. When it comes down to it, you look more in depth at it, today's athletes aren't that much better, and a lot of these guys compared to past legends are not better athletes. And the truth is, a lot of these guys nowadays are in worse shape, worse conditioning than guys even 15 years ago.
And we don't think that the NBA, today's NBA player, they do play at a fast rate, but I don't think they're in the tip-top shape. I don't think these players today, I think they're in shape.
Well, I got to tell you, our practices were like,
oof, man.
It was like, you know, murder. You know, it was like blood, and the guys were just physical. It was like football practice.
Yeah, we trying to kill each other.
It was like football practice.
I used to hate when we had a game on Monday and we don't have another one until Friday, because that meant Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to be some fighting going on because, you know, we played and practiced so hard. I couldn't wait for games because games was easy.
Like, this is what Ticket talking about, that they out of shape. We practiced every day. we went up and down every day.
Like a game.
Like a game. So we 5-on-5 pretty much the whole season.
With drills.
With drills. And so now they come in and they doing a lot of individual work.
With a trainer.
You know, so a lot of our shit was game speed.
The open secret for the NBA nowadays, the regular season, is a complete and utter joke. And when it comes to intense practice during the season, they almost never happen. It's a lot of skill work, one-on-one work, a lot of shooting and walkthroughs, not 5-on-5 physical play like in past eras. And looking at Kevin Garnett, his theory actually seems pretty plausible. As when you play 5-on-5 sports, you practice hard every single day of the week, that right there is your catalyst that prepares you for the grind of the season. For a lot of these NBA players in the summer, they do work very, very hard, get in tip-top shape. But the problem is when the season starts, the intensity of practice 5-on-5 drills simply is not there. Guys during the actual NBA season get in worse shape due to load management and rest and lackadaisical practices, when in the past those practices build you up for the long run, the playoffs, or even the NBA Finals.
You know, I always say about Michael and my time spending with him is we didn't see the best of Michael Jordan. He was as good as he was in the game. He was that much better in practice. He attacked practice with the same ferociousness, the same discipline, the same. He was very mindful that, you know what, he was going to transfer what he did in practice to the game.
They don't practice no more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because now you conditioned to play so many games. Like when you practice, like let me ask you this: like what year did you come in?
2010.
Okay, so now you done played in like, you can say like 3 eras now.
Yep.
So what's the difference from like, think about it, early 2010 and 11 till now?
It is the practice, and I'm the one for like I be pushing the coach like, yo, we need to practice more.
For teams in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, even early 2010s, practice was an absolute war. Nowadays in the 2020s, it's very lackadaisical and a glorified rest day. And think about this. If you're starting, stopping so often, you play, rest, play, rest, whatever the order may be. That's a lot of starting and stopping. You're in a constant state of movement and a constant state of resistance. As again, those practices going hard, that builds up calluses for you of the grind of an NBA season. When you're starting and stopping, it's very choppy, it's hard on the body, not great for your overall health and longevity for the entire season. Now, getting the opposite perspective on this, we have Kevin Durant. When it comes to current day players being injured so often so frequently, what does KD blame? Not the soft practices, the weak coaching. What he blames is the pace, the running, and the stress on the ligaments. And what he boils it down to is the game being quote-unquote more evolved.
You serious, Clark?
For Durant to cite evolution why players nowadays are getting hurt more often is absolutely comical. And look at his statements. The games are faster nowadays, there's more running. That right there is patently false. The fastest era in NBA history was the 1970s and 1980s. In the mid-70s, it was a breakneck speed never before seen. Yes, today's game is fast-paced up and down, but compared to the 70s, it's night and day. And look at the 70s. The superstars, the role players back then, they played 70, 75, even 80 games under worse conditions. And when Durant cites evolution, it makes my brain hurt. Humans in a 30-year time period haven't evolved into a different species. They don't have 3 arms, 4 legs, they can't dunk on 15-foot rims.
Piece for Dame Dollar.
Uh-oh. What? Oh, wow.
How embarrassing.
If you think this era of basketball is the best era of all time, go ahead and believe that. You're entitled to your opinion. Believe what you want to. But if you're going to cite evolution as why that is, at least use evolution in the right context and understand what it means. Now, looking back at current day NBA superstars who aren't really strong, fast, physical anomalies, these guys in this era still are putting up absurd numbers. Look at someone like James Harden. He's not fast, kind of slow, herky-jerky. His game is an old man's game. James Harden this past year, at age 35 past his prime, was 3rd team All-NBA. If you want to talk physical freaks anomalies, James Harden this season had a total of 4 dunks. This guy's game in our current era is an old man's game and is completely grounded. And looking at Harden's measurables, his speed, out of the entire NBA, dead last in offensive speed, defensive speed, and overall speed. James Harden this past year quite literally was the slowest player in the entire NBA, and despite that, age 35 was third team All-NBA. And again, James Harden, not some physical freak Adonis who's ripped like Prime Arnold.
You're never gonna make it. You're in horrible shape. Hey, I'm in tip-top shape.
And look at someone like Jokic. Much like Doncic and James Harden, not the best athlete and pretty much far from it. And compared to the best centers of all time, the Wilt Chamberlains, Kareems, the Robinson Hakeems, heck, even Alonzo Mourning, the Joker's physical profile measurables aren't even close to those guys. And despite that, in the quote-unquote bigger, faster, stronger era, puts up absurd stats, 30-point triple-doubles like they're nothing. And look at the Joker's measurables. This guy's speed this past year on offense, he ranked 144th. Defense, second to last, and overall, 165. The Joker, much like James Harden, plays a very, very slow pace, has an old man's game, and despite that versus freak athletes, dominates them on a nightly basis. If this era is so much better, so much faster, so much stronger, the athletes are so unstoppable, someone like Jokic should not exist. But of course, he does, is the best player in the world. Like I said earlier, these modern day fans can't have both ways. You can't say this era is the biggest, fastest, strongest. Guys in the past couldn't survive because they're inferior athletes. Then in the next breath, someone like Luka, he's fat, out of shape, he's a complete slob. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.